we just get it out of the way right now?
Yeah.
2 gay dads.
2 gay dads.
I figured that would just be the top of mind for everybody.
Yeah.
And 1 heterosexual dad to be.
Hello?
That's Dunstan.
Yeah, we normally
Checking
wouldn't
in.
introduce Dustin
Yeah, no.
first. But Dustin, introduce yourself.
If anyone forgot, I am Dustin, first most guest on the show.
I thought you were going to say something else. It sounded like you were saying like Dustin, sex master. It's like, we know you're having a child on the way, but and Dustin, most well known in the world, of course, for being on this here podcast, a whole new pod,
right.
the podcast all about Disney Channel original movies.
Our Twitter extraordinaire.
And their closest friend that was at prom to these 2 guys.
Yeah.
I was definitely asked you about your prom experience, because me and Jacob, we cannot relate.
Did not know.
So yes, now Jacob, you introduce yourself.
I'm Jacob Robert Telejohn.
And I am Lucas Melby. And honestly, listening back as I was editing that podcast, I felt like we had said 2 gay dads a little more than we actually did in the episode. So maybe we can roll it out in the future again.
How fun was that?
And if you recall, the previous episode, we ended talking about how we were running out of Disney Channel original movies. And I'm here to tell these 2 that we might have actually already watched all of the Disney Channel original movies, because there seems to have been on the page that I regularly check up, the Wikipedia page that we based our entire podcast off of. This movie we watched tonight used to be in the Disney Channel original movies list, but now it is in a subcategory.
I saw that too.
Called Disney original movies, which is just about meaningless because any movie Disney makes is a Disney original movie. But Prom Pact and the next movie, The Sleepover, fall within this category. And this was further reinforced, I found, on the D23 Disney Channel original movies section. D23 is like the official Disney fan club. They have separated out and not in the Disney Channel original movie list, but they also include something called PUNKS, which is an acronym, and that's the only non-DCOM that we've watched that's in that list. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to watch it. So yeah, we're kind of, Jacob and Dustin were having feelings as we were watching this, that this doesn't feel like, this isn't your daddy's DCOM.
There's a lot of differences. So the thing that I noticed, like these 2 movies, this one and then The Slumber Party, the next one, used to be on that list you're talking about. So like below,
it's like Wikipedia can be edited by anyone.
So, but what it says for Prom Pact is Prom Pact was originally announced as a Disney Plus original film, but it premiered on Disney Channel on March 30th, 2023, under the Disney Original Movies branding. So it's just like a new branding instead of Channel Original Movies.
We might be done. We might not even need to have regular check-ins with DCOMs. We might just have watched all of it.
Like I said, it did premiere on the Disney Channel first.
How do you feel about this, Dustin?
Well, when Jacob reached out and he was like, hey, do you want to try to get on any of the last DCOMs? I myself looked at the Wikipedia page, and the last one on was Under Wraps 2.
So
I don't know when the page got updated, because I do check it, about every 2 weeks.
So it's changed in the last.
I went to look and I was like, oh, how many are left? Because I didn't see anything on there. And he was like, oh, there's Prom Pact and Slumber Party. And I was like, okay, I can be on those. But I didn't question if they were actually Disney Channel original movies.
So we had already marked them out, as well as the Naughty 9. I think we'll still finish it out, though we could kind of move into our post-DCOM plans at any time. But fortunately, we did watch Prom Pact tonight, and it ended up being a very good movie. Or a good movie. But in a way that, like,
movie.
I probably won't list it in my Letterboxd rankings, because maybe technically it's not a DCOM.
It premiered on the Disney Channel, Lucas.
This is what I've been alluding to for a while, and definitely I think Spin would have been like one of the first ones where it's like, this doesn't really feel like a DCOM. There's kind of the blurred line with the Disney Plus nature of it, and this is from the same cloth of that. But it was a good movie.
Yeah,
Dustin knows how to pick them sometimes. So let's just get right into it. Where else to begin, Dustin?
The high school.
I was going to say the beginning, but
the beginning.
We start every.
We got to come up with our old bits, you could call. I don't know. Jacob apparently
the rear end.
Scooby-Doo?
Shaggy and Scooby.
So we meet our main character, Mandy Yang, who is checking the status of her Harvard application by just scrolling up to refresh a page on her phone. And I'm like, do kids not even get letters in the mail for colleges anymore? It made me feel sad. But we can learn everything we need to know about Mandy by the fact that she has an RBG shirt on. It's not a notorious RBG shirt. Jacob didn't really know anything about what this means.
Ruth Bader's Ginsburg.
Good job.
You mostly got there.
Yes.
So
she's rummaging through clothing, or she's moving the lost and found clothing into like a
donation
thing. Yeah, donate to something.
That is definitely not important.
But that's how it opens up, and we're introduced to her guidance counselor.
Well, yeah, but her guidance counselor is coming out to get on her case for not being in the pep rally for the boys basketball team, because Mandy, her eyes, her mind, it's in the future.
Yeah.
Everything's about Harvard. High school
making a difference in the world.
Doesn't even matter. As you could guess, she's big into Ruth Bader Ginsburg, so that can mean she's very leftist. Well, maybe not leftist, but she's a feminist. Mm-hmm. She's an activist. She wears other shirts like Save the Bees, Don't Use Plastic, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So she gets chewed out by her guidance counselor, and this is where we get a couple of swear words showing up in my Disney Channel original movie.
Dustin's the one that first brought them to attention. They say hell.
They said hell a couple times in the movie.
And in short order, we'll get a dumbass, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. Disney Channel.
Somebody says, suck my cock? No.
Well, kind of. Sort of.
And apparently,
we even see it happen.
There's a difference between the television edit, so what aired on Disney Channel. Apparently, the Disney Plus version is also a little bit longer, probably to edit around some of the weirder scenes. And I did see, like, I can't remember where, but there were some reviews online to be like, I didn't really like this in Disney Channel. I'm glad I watched this before my niece did. Otherwise, I shouldn't have let her watch it or whatever.
Yeah.
And would you say this rating was for the TV?
I believe I'd heard it was also TV 14, which would be the first for a DCOM.
Naughty DCOM. Naughty.
So after getting chewed out by the guidance counselor, Mrs. Chen, she joins her friend Ben Plunkett.
Ben Plunkett. No nuts.
Played by mainstay for us, Milo Manheim.
Zombies 1, 2, and 3. Your protagonist.
Zed. Yeah. And honestly, after his performance in this movie, like, I am all on the Milo Manheim. You know,
love him,
Manheim steamroller, choo choo ahead, let's go. I really liked him in this, and we'll quickly see. The movie isn't hiding the fact that it's very much an 80s coming of age throwback by the fact that
it's the theme
of the titular prom. It's just 80s.
Yeah.
And Milo or Ben falls squarely within the John Hughes prototype of, like, definitely Ducky and
Michael
Pretty in
Hall.
Pink, where me and Jacob didn't have anything to relate to with him at all. Dustin over here, main chat of our high school days.
Yeah, right.
So you did go to prom.
Yeah, once. Senior year.
One prom. Lucas and I did nothing.
Well, most of us. I don't think Sam went to prom.
Most of our friends.
Well, Coulter doesn't exist in the universe of this podcast.
This is true.
Sam went to Job's, I believe, but I don't think he went to prom. I think we were just over at Devin's house playing video games, watching wrestling, probably Friday Night SmackDown or something. Or no, that would have been a Saturday, I think. I was aware that prom was happening, but Job is that, because I don't know how widespread Job's
girls
sometimes.
asked the guy.
Sadie Hawkins is the other name for it.
Okay.
So I always held out hope that maybe somebody might ask me, but I was kind of a jerk in high school.
Lucas was the class president.
We've covered this, but I think
and they were roommates.
I tell myself that some girls were intimidated by me,
and
that's why nobody asked me. Moving on, we are also introduced at this pep rally.
Promposal.
Sure.
LaToya Reynolds.
Okay, are you just saying words now?
No, those both happen here.
Okay. All right, Jacob. What happens next, though?
Well, so Ben Plunkett is LaToya Reynolds is making an announcement about the Prom Pact or the promposals and stuff, and you just continue, Lucas. You have it all written down. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, I'm just sometimes you notice excited. Stuff, but I'd say the more important thing here is the character introduction of Graham, who is introduced and talked about and referred to as a dumbass before the promposal.
Fair enough.
So Graham Lansing Jacob would rightfully say falls within the Disney Channel archetype of Troy Bolton,
Zac Efron's character,
star basketball player who is also maybe a little dumb.
Yeah.
And Mandy doesn't like him very much.
Yeah,
Why does everybody worship?
He just kind of gives off like a douchey vibe.
Then they kind of come back. He comes back in Ghostbusters gear to do this promposal. Did people refer to promposals back in the day?
People didn't do promposals. Like, I remember the one
like this.
How I asked.
I mean, maybe you didn't, Justin, but some people did a more elaborate.
They became more popular with social media. People want to get like likes and stuff or whatever.
Well, Dustin, I mean, we're not that old.
He was about to tell us his promposal.
Social media existed.
It was a terrible promposal that I did.
Tell.
I put a laminated note in a cupcake that said prom. And
she bit into the cupcake.
Yep.
She cut her lips all up. She's just bleeding all over the cupcake.
I'm just impressed you had access to a laminator back then.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So this is in the style of Ghostbusters, and there's a bit of a joke where the girl thinks that Graham, who's helping out one of his teammates, asking me to
prom, and then her boyfriend's like, "No,
me.
I am me." She's like, "Oh." That's funny.
Awkward.
Yeah, the principal says that even. Awkward.
The next day, she follows up with Mrs. Chen, who tells her, hey, you're like maybe a little too focused on Harvard. Maybe you should just like chill out and just enjoy your senior year. Yeah. Mandy, not into that though.
No. So worried about Harvard. Always worried about getting into Harvard.
At lunch, she thrashes all of Jacob's favorite movies from the 80s for being sexist.
The Breakfast Club.
Weird Science. I mean, that the Weird Science is.
They literally they make a girl. They make a female.
Which reminded me of recently, Jacob was talking to me about the Criterion collection.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do they got like a
John Hughes collection?
80s John Hughes movies? I'm like, it's not a bargain bin at Walmart. It'd be like 3 80s coming of age.
I think they're getting rid of DVDs and Blu-rays at Walmarts and Targets. I think that's the thing.
They're getting rid of them?
I think so.
Well, Best Buy is, but...
Yeah, I think a bunch of places are. Sad.
Oh, well. I can't buy Prom Pact on Blu-ray, I don't think.
You would, though, huh?
And Milo, in this case, Ben.
Yeah.
We already talked about kind of playing against his type in zombies.
Yeah,
even though
he's like the cool one. He's like the top dog.
Sure. I guess there's still the caveat that he is a zombie, so in that world, that makes him less cool. But here, he is, he's like a Jacob Telejohn.
Yeah,
he's like
he's funny. I like his character. He panics like me.
We see him at his after school job where we do learn that he drives. So unlike Jacob Telejohn in this situation. And this is the most standout scene of this is not a normal Disney Channel movie.
This is naughty.
So Dustin, what happens here?
Kevin? Isn't that the freshman's name?
I have no idea. But yes, he has a freshman coworker who's giving him shit for being like, you've never been to parties or anything.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, you've never put your P in a V. And they were like, oh, look at Graham. He's definitely put...
He's got some P's and V's. And I'm just like, huh?
Oh, it's naughty.
So then Graham checks out with Ben. He's the cashier. Where then he's like, oh, you go to my school? Oh, you're Ben. Oh, no nuts, Plunkett.
No nuts, Plunkett.
Which we didn't fully catch, but it seemed to be something like he's got a peanut allergy.
Yeah, he swelled up on some field trip.
Yeah,
but
Dustin's right. It is not important.
It's not, but it's called back
just
several times.
Just the namesake is important, but how he got it is.
Thank you, Dustin, for distilling important details of the movie.
Here's Jacob's.
We see Mandy at home where she has two parents who we don't really see a ton in the movie, but when we do, they're extremely supportive of her. They're very nice. And here the mom is also saying like, hey, Mandy, just try to enjoy your final senior year of high school.
Yeah.
And Mandy and Milo, eventually my notes switch to calling him Ben, but at this point they haven't. They're driving to school and they're kind of laying out that like they're kind of into, in maybe kind of a similar way to me being like, we don't care about parties. You know, we'll listen to Imagine Dragons. Dustin's like, I'm seeing right.
And they start singing.
Believer. Yep. I wish it was the Smash Mouth song.
It was like a good minute of singing, too.
It was, my notes say it was egregious
too long.
amount of Imagine Dragons.
But it was fun.
They, when everybody else is out partying, they're out having Friday night waffles.
I don't know if I went to a single party in high school.
graduation party.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay.
Graduation party was about it.
I do remember one time the summer after our freshman year of college where there were some people from high school who were like, "Oh," they texted me or somebody
like
called me out of the
Weimer's
blue to come
house or
over.
something.
Yeah, it was nearby my house, and you guys dropped me off, and I'm like, well, you guys can come in, and you and Dustin were like, no, we cannot.
I remember dropping.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Me and Jacob probably just went to the thrift stores.
And no, it's pretty late at night. Yeah, I don't think the thrift stores were open. But we can tie that into. So this was. She at least listened to the first episode of this podcast and said she liked it. So shout outs to Alice. Guarantee she does not listen anymore. But as Jacob brought up a little bit ago, there's a character in this movie named LaToya Reynolds. Who will try not to shout her name too loudly, but that is usually how people exclaim her name. LaToya Reynolds.
Yeah.
And at one point, it's not a secret that Ben really likes her. And Mandy's just like, you love LaToya. And he's like, no, I don't. So there was one time back many years ago at our lunch table. So imagine Dustin probably sitting with us, Jacob maybe at the adjacent table. We're not making eye contact with him. And Sam would have been here, as well as our friends Jake, Devin, Sean. None of them listen to the podcast.
I thought Sean did.
I mean, I always reference him as probably not listening
He
anymore.
reacts to the Twitter
and
stuff.
he never responds to be like, hey, I actually do listen. So you know what? I don't think he does. But Sean, if you're listening, this story is all about you, because there was one time where you would say Tim and Alice were cool kids, right?
Yeah.
Well, compared to Jacob Teleshon, they're gods. But
well, no.
So they stopped by, and I don't even know what it was, but they just stopped by and were randomly talking to us, and we were being amicable. And I mean, I knew them going back to like elementary school. And Devin, who was maybe a little more reserved, or that's how we would think of him, he was really engaged in talking to them. And then afterwards, they walked away, and our friend Sean just went, I think Devin loves Alice, because he was being nice and, reciprocating greetings or talking to them. We then would repeatedly say that Devin loves Alice, not to make fun of Devin, but to then make fun of Sean, to the point that we said it so much that one time Devin's mom overheard us saying it. She's like, do I need to know about this Alice girl? And we're like, no, unfortunately not for Devin. But, so anyways, a little, we got to bring back a little
story.
High school anecdote in a movie like this. So Mandy and Ben, they're losers, but they're proud of being losers together. Ben maybe getting a little tired of it, though. So Mandy says, hey, you know what? I'll take you to prom. We'll go platonically, BFFs.
So this
maybe
is
making a pact of sorts.
A prom pact. They call it a prom pact. This is where she writes ketchup or whatever in the...
Yes, her promposal is she just writes ketchup on, a placemat.
And we see in the background...
she cleaned that up.
She did. She folded it up and threw it.
Well, that's very nice.
Not that you needed that detail, but...
They also like waffles. Here this time they don't get chocolate chips. But I was going to say we get another promposal in the background. I can't remember the song. Lucas might.
Yeah, let's just do the promposals we hear. So it's Addicted to Love. Whoever that guy is. I'm more know the Weird Al version.
A Back to the Future
Addicted
one.
To Spuds. Back to the Future. We already said Ghostbusters. Club. Say Anything, the John Cusack movie.
Dirty Dancing.
That had the TV thing.
Oh, the
I didn't see that one. I guessed it was maybe Max Headroom, which seems like a super deep cut.
Like an MTV thing or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, did we get them all, Jacob? Will you feel satisfied that we made all the references?
The umbrellas that we thought were...
Singing in the Rain.
But not actually Singing in the Rain.
They could have been. They could just be wrong in the era, I guess.
They say the John Cusack one. There were a lot of ones. I enjoyed them. They were fun.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
The library. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
We'll get to that later, maybe.
No, we're saying them all now because we're not going to bring them up.
The situation had any precedence about like the movie with the
dancing.
With the handicapped girl.
Oh,
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Okay.
It's all nice. It's totally fine.
All right.
I don't think that was done in poor taste.
No. Okay. Dust.
I'm just being like Jacob Jr.
That's why I'm saying dust. So the next day, the prom pact is established. Mandy finds out she's been waitlisted at Harvard.
Yeah, and she basically turns into a puddle, and she's no one else is trying to comfort her, but she's just like, it's over for me. Everything I've worked for is just done, so I'm not accepted. Then he makes a point, Milo does, that you're not rejected. you know, and she's like, basically.
You could say every girl I've known waitlisted me.
Oh.
That's being generous. Then she does take some of the pep talk from Ben well, and she goes to the guidance counselor to maybe strategize a bit. And then eventually it's like, oh, if I got a good recommendation letter from, it's something about like Graham's dad is a U.S. senator from Washington, which is where the movie takes place, is in Seattle.
Northern Seattle or whatever.
In very much like She's All That kind of fashion, it's a plan to woo somebody, or at least befriend somebody.
To get to their father.
For ulterior motives.
Yes, to get a letter of recommendation.
The plan is to befriend Graham.
Yes. Through tutoring.
Yes, or somehow get a letter of recommendation from the senator. And they even recognize it's a plot of an 80s movie. But, you know, it always works, right?
Always.
The first step, though, is they know he's going to a party. He probably goes to all the parties. They never go to any parties.
No, they're the only two that don't. They're party virgins, if you will.
Which is announced upon their arrival. And which has been my fear of ever going to any parties.
Party virgins are here.
You're not supposed to be here. And I would be like, I know, I'm leaving, I'm leaving.
You went to one party. You went to that one where the kid fell into the fire.
Well, but I mean, that was like the party that everybody was invited, even though
Dustin and me.
I mean, I didn't get like an explicit invitation. I just knew other people who knew where to go.
No,
we didn't even know where to go.
No, we would probably went.
Check out Jay Rush's hit track to hear about that party.
Yes.
And there's a lot of red Solo cups. It's implied that a girl goes into a bathroom to throw up. So this is alcohol without being explicitly stated. To be alcohol.
We see two men, or I should say young boys, teenagers doing dirty things in a bedroom.
Yeah?
There's a lot
we don't
of stuff
see
implied.
them doing anything, actually. And for you to then go, young boys doing dirty things.
Teenagers. So we see a boy standing up, and she walks in on him, our main character, Mandy, does, and like some other boy's head kind of comes up from some hidden area, you know, like the bed, you know, below the bed. Something was going on down there. There's a lot of other stuff going on.
At this party, too, there was also a Karate Kid proposal.
We forgot the Karate Kid. Yes, good call there, Dustin. Yep. Lucas is pissed.
I'm in hell. LaToya's also at this party, so Ben is... got his sights set on her.
He lurks. That's what they refer to him.
He's
a lurker.
Extremely awkward. People are like, well, what are you here for? And he says he offers to pick up their empties, which then leads to him picking up empty cups from everybody at the party where he has two garbage bags full of them.
The first sign that we see that maybe LaToya kind of likes him is he makes a joke about, why is everybody hammered? Why didn't they bring a hammer instead? And LaToya kind of like giggles or whatever. So we kind of, you know, see that. And he notices that. He makes like a reference to...
I definitely read it as she didn't think that was a funny joke at all.
Ben says that to Mandy. He's like, she laughed at my joke. I'm so funny.
Well, okay. Well, this is
he
the
read into
read
it like
Jacob
I would
Telejohn
read into
has, where, you know what, I won't say anything.
So
I'll be nice.
He overhears, he eavesdrops, he lurks as he's picking up the red Solo cups that there's like some like garden thing they're doing in the morning.
True.
Where Graham is going to be. I think all the basketball players are going to be. And LaToya Reynolds is going to be there too, of course.
So Mandy is desperately trying to find Graham at this party.
Yes.
And then she just at one point is like, where's this dumbass motherfucker?
Where he fucking screams, go Bulldogs.
Neanderthal.
Another Neanderthal.
The Bulldogs is the name of their team.
And he's standing right behind her.
And the movie, at least to its credit, does not have her go, he is standing right behind me right now.
They could have did that.
So she turns, and what does he say first?
Go Bulldogs.
Which is what she says. He only communicates.
Only grunts and go Bulldogs.
So, you know what? I was like, hey, pretty funny, Graham. Funny. You maybe seem like an okay guy. And she just kind of is just like, I'm going to go now. And she meets up with Ben, who's throwing away cups. Yeah. And they're like, well, I think we both did okay, right?
LaToya Reynolds laughed at my joke. Then they show her again in the background leaving, and he's staring at her. He's lurking.
So she learns from Ben about that volunteering thing. So she goes there, meets up with Graham, apologizes, and it says like, hey, what classes are you taking? Oh, like, I think it's psychology seems to be the subject.
You're with my friend. She's like, who's your friend? Oh, I don't know. I don't take that class. Oh, I'm sure you do. Third period.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And she like works it in. She's playing it kind of cool. Like, oh, I could tutor you, as a makeup for being a jerk. No charge anything. I actually tutor lots of people.
No, what's the catch? Here I see you at parties. You're going to parties. You're doing this. You're doing that. What's the catch? She's like, I'm just a good person trying to do a good thing.
And he takes it.
Yeah. But he was weary. He saw like some red flags there that something's not right here.
I don't even know you. You've never talked to me before.
He says a comment. He's like, we haven't talked in ages.
No, he said, I think in ever.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what it was. Or forever. I don't know. Who knows?
And we have a similar. I'm much more invested in the Ben Plunkett storyline of this movie. So he's going to buy his prom ticket to go with Mandy, his BFF. And who's selling the tickets, Dustin?
LaToya Reynolds.
I'm sorry, I don't think you exclaimed it loud enough.
LaToya Reynolds?
Oh my God, Dustin, it's deafening my ears. And I can relate where like Ben's like, oh, I'm excited, but I'm going to play it cool. And then she's like, oh, Ben Plunkett. And he's like, oh, you know my name.
Yes. She says, oh, Ben. And then he finishes her words for her. It's like, you don't think I know who you are, Ben Plunkett? We had, like some class last year together. He's like, I know you. You're you. She's like, you don't know my name, do you? He's like, of course I do. You don't know my name.
This is a great bit because I condensed all of this down to just she knew his name and he got excited, and then Jacob's got to go do like this whole fucking long-winded bit to arrive at the same conclusion. We're gonna come out at the end of this movie to say, hey, you should probably watch this movie, but Jacob wants to do like a reenactment for
Ben is great.
His voiceover reel.
Oh yes.
So yeah, it's a very cute moment where she's like, I know you, Ben. We like did a class project like last year together. We've been in classes since middle school. And I'd be like, oh my God, if I was him, I'd be like, oh. But then she's like, well, you know my name, right? And I think, it's kind of mind blocked for a bit where.
Of course I do.
You're you. And then eventually he does say LaToya Reynolds. Then he kind of awkwardly like leaves.
He like stands there and he's like, excuse me, I have other people to sell tickets to. He's like, oh, of course.
Thank you for clarifying. Awkwardly leaving to what it possibly could mean or look.
Just clarifying.
So what happens next, Jacob?
You tell me.
I got to find it on my notes.
I really can't remember exactly.
Graham has ADHD.
Oh yeah, they're trying to learn.
Possibly undiagnosed, but
yeah, just like their first tutor session in the library, and like he's making some kind of noise, or is he playing with something while she's trying to go through psychology stuff with him?
Yeah, he's
doing like his tick.
Yeah. I think you're right.
He's got Tourette's now.
Well, he's taking pictures too, because like we mentioned, the Breakfast Club thing's going on in the background. He's taking pictures, kind of not really paying attention to her.
She's not meeting him where he's at for his learning style. So then she adapts to be like, here, shoot a basketball and I'll talk to you while you do that. And then that's
works.
I work with some patients who have, I don't know if it's undiagnosed, but at least unmedicated ADHD. And we have fidgets for them to work with in groups to try to focus a little bit better, ideally. Maybe we can just have them shoot basketballs. I don't know how well that would work out.
Beef. Well, that's a little later.
They're getting along better. He starts to improve in psychology.
Yeah, he's replying to her word for word what she's telling him. And there's I can't remember. You would know all the psychology terms they're breaking down and using.
I didn't pay attention.
That's fun.
I left that to Jacob.
Thank you.
And then he teaches her, in turn, how to shoot basketball.
Beef. Free throws.
B-E-E-F. What does that stand for, Dustin?
B is balance.
Yes.
And then E is eyes. Other E is elbows.
Yes.
And then F is follow through.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding.
And she's already a better basketball shooter than me.
He calls her...
taking notes on basketball shooting more in the movie.
The patients at work are much better than me at basketball.
He calls her LeBron James. She does make a shot, though. And, he's doing this kind of getting really close to her, in her ear. He asks for permission to touch her arm to get it in the right spot, and she makes the shot, but he's telling her, if you make this shot, I'm going to ace my test.
Now, just imagine if it was Troy Bolton.
Oh, I would miss the shot.
And he was singing it, too.
Oh.
Give me a B. Give me an E. Gotta get your beef in the game.
Gotta get the B and the V.
So this is, classic kind of DCOM fashion of like,
she's starting to fall for him.
You thought you knew this guy, but we're gonna rush up. He's nice. He can teach you how to shoot basketball. He teaches youth kids at the rec center. So he goes there and they have a nice practice. He's like, if I make this half-court shot, I'll bring donuts next time. And he does, and the kids tackle him.
And then Mandy makes a comment to one of the kids like, I'm not the worst girl that he's brought here, right? And the little kid says, you're the only girl he's ever brought here.
And then Mandy says, I bet you say that to all the girls.
So yeah, maybe he's really not that big of a dick.
Maybe
not.
We'll find out maybe a little more because she gets to tutor him at his house. Ooh. That's where the senator lives.
Ooh.
And, well, I know Jacob doesn't walk around shirtless too often, but how often are you shirtless at your house?
To and from the bathroom, basically.
Yeah. But she goes to the door. She meets Graham's mom, and then Graham comes down the stairs, and he's naked from the waist up.
Yes.
And Mandy's all,
Graham put on a t-shirt, says his mom. Thank God he's wearing pants. And she's like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Like she wants to see his pee. Pee.
I mean, when you just say just pee, it makes it...
Penis.
Okay, there you go. Perfect.
Thank you. Wall of Fame. Or shame.
Yeah, so it is a wall of fame. He's looking at pictures on his wall, but his section of the wall is just his 5th grade graduation because his dad is the inverse of Troy Bolton's dad, where he doesn't give a fuck about basketball.
He was the MVP of all conference stuff, and yeah, he has like 3 brothers that are all different stuff.
Assholes.
They are. They're kind of.
And we'll find them all earlier, and they look like they could be Don Jr. and Eric Trump. So yeah, the children.
Oh, I was trying to help you get to where you were
it sounded
going.
like you were dying over there. So
I hiccuped.
So what did you say?
Well, I was trying to help you to where you were going. You were kind of like, I don't know if you lost where you were. So I said the mom.
Well, I also was meaning to take a break so I could edit out your hiccup noise, but now I have to leave that.
That's fine. So they're practicing though again, still here outside. They're shooting some hoops.
Well, it's not even really so much shooting. It's a heated Q&A, toss the ball, answer a question session.
It was getting intimate.
And they're getting closer and closer. And it's like, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite book? Something about, I hate my dad.
Yeah.
I like my dad.
What's the real reason you tutor me? And then the mom opens the door and yells out, hey, you want to have dinner with your dad tonight or something? Or, do you want to stay, Mandy?
Well, she says dinner's in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So then Graham's like, you want to have dinner? With your dad? Well, sure. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
But classic senator daddies. We all know these business daddies. They can never make it home for dinner.
So she's, rocking a hard place. This is her thing. She wants that letter. And this is where she drops and kind of gets kind of really focused on her task at hand. Like she's, tells the mother, okay, I'm going to be going, I want to go to Harvard. And she's like, well, coincidentally enough, my husband was, this is alma mater.
You don't say. She could have played that cooler because I think they showed it on the wall.
She's making a lot of eye contact between Graham and she's like, yeah, I want to go to this dinner, this ball thing with you. And she's really connecting with the mother over some writer lady. And there's a lot going on. She's really going for it. She's going for it.
Wow, this is all...
She's going for it.
While this is all going on, though.
Me and Dustin were like, I don't even remember. Was this in the movie?
It all happened.
While this is all going on, though, Mandy blew off a friend date with Ben, too.
Birthday, right? Or no, not.
No.
The movie date.
Yeah, they're Friday night waffles at the diner movie and go to the bookstore.
Just sounds like the best fucking time.
There's a lot.
I want to be friends with Ben.
But yeah,
True.
Ben was looking forward to it, and
he has to return his movie ticket. But wait.
So I just want to rewind real quick. Jacob dropped this fucking ball we're in cowbells or something. It's a fundraiser for the senator that Graham invites her to.
Correct.
Or the mom invites her to, and Graham's kind of surprised that she wants to go.
So
So that's important. But yes, let's move on to Ben and LaToya. LaToya Reynolds is in line in front of me at the movie theater.
And he exclaims her name, LaToya Reynolds, and she freaks out, Ben Plunkett.
Ben, stop calling me by name all the time.
And he awkwardly is like, hey, I got an extra ticket. I think at some point he does explain that it was for Mandy, but he's like, hey, we could just go as like friends. I mean, not friends, like students, fellow students together.
I'm a student just helping out another student. She's like, yes, I'll.
You don't need to sit by me. Actually, you do, because it's a science theater. But I'm glad that you said it was okay to sit by me.
And she's a big fan of Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, it's a fake horror movie starring Michael B. Jordan, which I don't know if he's really been in too many horror movies, unless you include the Fantastic Four remake or the ending of Black Panther, where the very bad CGI going on.
They have a great time together.
They do.
They're laughing.
And I'm so happy for them.
We find out that she was hanging onto his arm, and like he's hurting. He's like, you hurt me. You're grabbing on too tight. And she's like, Ben, you're so silly. So you and Mandy used to go out for waffles, right? And he's like, yeah, we go out for waffles. And she starts to ask him, would you like to go out for what? And he says, I'll see you at school.
And then he shakes her hand.
And then he runs away.
Which, that's the only part I wouldn't relate to. I would do anything in my power to never shake anybody's hand. Because I have very sweaty hands, including right now, currently. They are very sweaty tonight.
But would you run away from your own awkwardness?
And he's yelling,
what do you think I do every day of my life?
I'm making it worse as he runs away.
What do you think when I'm out jogging on my normal jogging days? What do you think is motivating me? It's my awkwardness right behind me. That's what I'm running away from. So Graham, I think, is maybe starting to have some suspicions, or just kind of just like, what's going on with Mandy? Why is she like wanting to go to this fundraiser? Because he's very much like, I don't like my dad. She's kind of turning to be like, oh, I would love to meet your father.
Yeah.
Going to this fundraiser means she will not be able to attend Ben's birthday at the Olive Garden. The happiest place on earth. But fortunately, Mandy encourages him to awkwardly ask LaToya to attend his birthday bash at the Olive Garden.
So he does, in the middle of the hallway in front of people.
Which I hear that when you're at Olive Garden...
When you're there, your family.
I'm loving it. So then it's the fundraiser where they slow dance. Oh, actually, no. Before they go there... Graham meets her parents.
Yes.
And she's like, what are you doing? Don't talk to my parents. And they're like, we love our daughter so much. Look at all these funny pictures.
She loves the movie Risky Business.
Have you ever seen Risky Business, Dustin?
I haven't. No.
I haven't either. You?
Yes.
Classic.
Jacob's seen all the movies.
All the 80s.
So yeah, she loved Risky Business as well as One Direction, which will come back.
A particular song. Yeah, both of these things are very relevant.
But it's very clear, like, oh, your parents are so nice and supportive. Your whole wall is like a wall of support. She has
a different view. She's like, your parents, love you. You have your wall, and she's explaining like, nah, this stuff isn't important. Like Graham's like, this is all important. Your whole house is a wall of fame.
Do you think I just said this?
You did, but I expanded.
How much of it too is that like Mandy an only child, and that's all they have is to put pictures of her? And
are you gonna let your child be an only child, Dustin? Hey, we don't need to divulge too much. No, I feel bad now that we actually get you on so shortly, and like right before that, we're like, "Yo, we announcing this to the world. Dustin's having a kid."
Yeah.
That's all we got. We don't got any, other big drops for Dustin to come through with.
Yep. Not until
he's like, Game Fuel's coming back. The real news.
So
that is the real news.
Off to the dinner.
Yeah, and I can't say I've been to a lot of politician fundraisers, but they have like a dance where it's like a slow dance. So like immediately Graham and Mandy are slow dancing. And
they are trying to avoid people asking all the questions. This is where they point out all the douchey looking brothers.
Yeah, named like Nate and Nigel and Nicholas or something. And what happens, Dustin?
Happens? Oh, is this where
they kiss?
Oh, this part, yeah.
On the mouth. She wanted it again.
I fast forwarded through that part. I was going to the next part with the sushi guy.
To be clear, Dustin didn't actually fast forward it. We all watched the movie together.
No, in my mind,
he blocked out the kiss.
See, this is where you just say, I was in the bathroom during that part. Dustin, none of us. I didn't go to the bathroom at all during this movie.
A lot happens here.
really ratcheting it up. She's like, oh, I really like Graham. So she bumps into Senator Lansing, his father.
Spills a drink all
and he's
over
like,
him.
Well, hello, you must be the tutor. I hate my fucking dumbass son.
Yeah, he really kind of, and she defends the son, Graham. You know, so like he really is a great kid. You know, he makes everybody in the room, you know, feel like they're the only one there. Really talking him up.
Dad's like, he makes me feel like I don't know I'm beautiful, but that's what makes me beautiful.
And then he says, well, my wife was telling me you're going to, you want to go to Harvard. You're going to go to Harvard. It's like, well, yeah, I'm waiting, you know, to get accepted. If there's anything that I can do.
As a Harvard graduate.
It's my alma mater.
Anything I can do, you just let me know. And she really, this is what she's been waiting for. This moment. This is what all this is about. And she thinks about it.
But he really retros like, my son sucks so much. So like this is the least I can do for dealing with my piece
dumb
of shit
fucking son. Yeah.
Is writing a letter. And she's just like, no, you know what? Maybe there is more stuff important than Harvard. And then she hides behind a waiter. And then what happens to us then?
Oh, this is where she overhears the brothers, his older brothers, being like, oh, it's...
Yeah,
I don't like.
Graham only. Well, I'm thinking. So Graham only brought this smart girl. That's what was going on in my head.
I shouldn't verbalize it.
Graham only brought this smart girl to impress Dad. You know, make him think
Jacob has
so
his
smart.
eyes closed.
Well, I'm thinking. I'm reimagining.
He's
it
going
in
to
my
his
head
mind place.
By Mind Palace. Yeah. So yeah, she's you can continue, Lucas.
He's rap godding on us.
So it's not only that though too.
His brothers are all frat boys and like, hey, you saw this girl? He's trying to trick Dad with a smart girl that he's kissing. He's playing her like a damn fiddle. I saw him messing around with Jessica from the dance studio
just
the
last
other
night.
weekend.
Yeah,
and she's just like,
she's like breaking. Like the more they keep talking about it, you know, like the more her heart is breaking. She's starting to cry, and then we see Graham walk up and be like, you know, be quiet. You know, Mandy can't be hearing you talking about this stuff. So and she runs into the mom, crying.
Yeah, and she calls through the kitchen phone. She calls Ben, who's had a wonderful birthday.
Yeah, they're having a great. They're about to blow the candles out
with the Olive Garden. I don't know if that's how they do birthday songs there.
Yeah,
maybe I'll go there on my next birthday.
Oh,
no, I would die of mortification trying to get a birthday song at Olive Garden
anywhere.
But he answers the phone from...
What's wrong?
Mandy.
Because you just hear she's just crying and bawling. Everything is shit. My life is shit.
And Ben, being the best friend that he is, drops everything, leaves LaToya.
And she's like, what
no
the fuck,
explanation.
Man? What the fuck? Well,
leaves her with the check, too.
Yeah.
She does not feel like she's in family.
Apple Pay?
And I'm like, come on. Of course. I'm pretty sure Olive Garden got out of it.
But yes, he does blow out his candle. They take a picture of him.
I'm looking up on local Yelp review of Olive Garden. 1 star, they don't have Apple Pay.
Yeah, so he ditches her and literally leaves her when he's asked her to go to his birthday. And she's the only one that showed up for his birthday. And just leaves her there.
On my birthday party? At my birthday restaurant? On my birthday?
It's my birthday.
But I can't use that one again yet. So they explain to each other what happened, and she's just like, "Oh, thank you for being here. I'm sorry that I ruined your date or whatever."
He finds her just walking home because she really doesn't expect him to come and get her because she does hear LaToya in the background talking. She's like, "Oh, I ruined your date." Oh,
I try not to look at Jacob when we record this, but do you close your eyes all the time?
No, I'm just Mind Palace.
But Ben, he's such a good friend that he's like, "It doesn't matter. We're BFFs. We're going to prom together, right?"
Yes. Oh.
Maybe.
Oh.
Was this pact legally binding? So the next day, both of their crushes, objects of affection, giving them the cold shoulder.
Well, no.
They're giving, she's giving Graham the cold shoulder.
And LaToya's.
LaToya.
Yes. Correct.
Graham, she goes up to, and she's just like, what about Jessica? And he's like, oh, you weren't supposed to know about that. So. No good there. LaToya's like, you just left me for Mandy. Like, come on.
Well, and he's still calling her LaToya Reynolds, and she says, "Stop being cute." And he's like, "Oh, sorry, but I'm more sorry about the other night."
I mean, can he stop being cute, Dustin? I don't know.
No, he's doing a good job at it.
Best boy.
So LaToya's like, okay, later on in the day, I'll give you till I get to my car.
Explain. He's explaining, she's my best, Mandy's my best friend. I had to be there. It was an emergency.
Those are just words. You know what would really show me? If you go to prom with me.
Ooh.
Cut to stuff happens where there's a promposal for Mandy that starts out with dun 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 dun. Yeah,
there we go.
I mean, I could sing the real words if I want, but I don't want to get DMCA.
So it is Graham, basically in his underwear and looking like Tom Cruise.
Business.
Yeah, it's a risky business.
Even I know this. I didn't watch the damn movie.
The when he was over at the house, we see Mandy as a child in that outfit, and then we get
record scratch.
One Direction. You light up my world.
I don't know the words to that one as well. And he does
a full costume change.
But then he says, "Won't you go to prom with me?" And then all three of us were like,
"It's fun. It's a fun scene."
Then we cut
he's got the whole school into it. Everybody's everybody's
filming it because they love Graham and they love Promposals.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cut to Mandy running up.
So I should also point out, and I just want to just make the point. So when he had that girl from the dance studio over there, that he was learning all these dance moves that he did to ask her out.
I didn't know that.
Well,
you went to the Mind Palace and you put those pieces together.
Well, I just wanted to make that a point in case.
No, I'm honestly I didn't put those pieces together.
Yeah,
because this movie doesn't necessarily spell it out.
No, so that's what that was about. He wasn't really cheating on another girl. He was just learning the move.
Round of applause for Jacob.
Thank you.
So then we cut to Mandy running up to Ben in the parking lot, being like, "Oh, this is so great. Graham asked me. Well, yeah, Latoya asked me too. Well, perfect. We can each go with our own hotties." And he's like, no, we were going together.
Yeah.
And she's like, about that. And he has it all pent up. He's like, my movie dates, my birthday.
You've ruined
Are
everything.
You my best friend? And then everybody's filming it and they're like, fight. No, nuts. And then he's like, do you even like Graham for real, or is this some part of your sick fucking game
to get the letter from his father?
And then they leave.
Yeah.
She goes back into the school, and the video's already made it to Graham, and he's like, hey, check out this. This cat's playing a keyboard. This pretty. Oh, yeah, and the next one. Oh, my God, I can't believe.
Exposed. And she's like, let me explain. He's like, no need. Here's the letter. So he had his dad write the letter for her for Harvard, the recommendation letter. So she got what she always wanted.
And this movie,
it cost her friends, it cost her relationship, everything. But she got the letter, so.
But isn't Harvard everything? I'm losing my notes here.
That's true. Good point.
And this movie, we've called out some, unfortunately, like Only Believer by Imagine Dragons, but this movie's got a lot of licensed music, and here we get
a lot of 80s songs.
Yeah, like Don't You Know You're Beautiful. And we get a sad montage set to Love Hurts, where she's basically become the school pariah. People walk by her locker just to take photos, be like, bitch. And we haven't mentioned them, but Ben and her have two mutual friends, but they're like, hey, we're not picking sides. You were definitely wrong.
But we're having lunch with Ben.
Out with Ben. And
she's a bad person.
She's talking to the guidance counselor, but she's like, but it was Harvard. I mean, should I really send this letter? So I think at the end of the montage, she gives the letter to one of Graham's friends.
Who gives it to him.
Give this back to him.
Yeah. She's realizing she was in the wrong the whole time.
And Jacob's like, I don't think this girl's really grown at all in this movie.
That was her peak. This is where she was learning.
And I'm like, Jacob, have you been watching the movie?
This is where she was learning.
So then Mandy, it's prom night. She dresses up in 80s.
Like some Cyndi Lauper looking stuff.
I think that's the correct way to
really
describe
puffy.
it.
It's a red dress, red hair, really puffy.
Even kind of like Deb's dress in Dynamite.
Not that puffy.
Can it be any puffier? She first makes a stop, though, at Ben's apartment building.
Yes.
To do a promposal for him after nearly shattering his window.
R-R-R-R-O-O-O-O-M. Plugga. Will you go to prom with me?
So this is supposed to be...
And he says, will you fucking stop it?
To safety dance. I don't know if that fully got across there, but, you know, it can't match my Bob Seger impression.
Everybody's coming out of their apartment balconies to just stare at her, and she's doing all these fun dances.
Fight.
She's dancing, doing all the funs, and he's like, if you just fucking stop it, you know, like, can you just, like, stop? And she's like, only if you, you know, or I don't know. He says yes. No, they're going to go to prom.
He's going there again.
Everything's everything's good. They're best friends. They're going to prom.
I hear voices in my head. They tell me about Prom Pact. So it's not just going to prom. She's got a whole day planned out. So they're getting their wardrobes matched up.
It's prom's time for 4 more hours. So they go to the movies together. It's an
They're
80s,
doing their normal
80s
date.
theme. Yes.
She's making up for lost time with
the bookstore.
Yes, everything.
And his outfit,
Prince, purple and gold,
kind
weird curled hair.
The hair definitely, but his outfit, I don't know. I can't really.
It's cool. I liked it.
I don't like his hair.
It's like a glitter or not glitter, like shimmery, like paisley print kind of.
Ooh.
It's 80s themed, but they show up to the 80s themed prom.
And nobody's dressed in
all
80s.
Eyes are on them to be like, what the hell are you wearing?
Yeah. And then their friends have explained, well, nobody really does the theme the day of because pictures exist.
What was the theme of the prom you went to, Dust?
I'm pretty sure it was like Pixar movies. I remember they're like Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo.
Interesting.
Or like big things.
You know what? I don't feel like I missed out by not going to prom.
That's your jam, though, Lucas.
The theme, though, it was more just like only to have decorations around there to like decorate the place.
Nobody was actually dressed like Mike and Sully.
That I can understand. But you could take some pictures and have somebody be like Mike Wazowski in it, where they just get covered up or whatever.
Randall could have went as Randall, the lizard.
Shout outs to Randall.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yes, Jacob. Nobody else does.
That's fine, but there's this guy named Randall who would have went as Randall.
So then they just are like, all right, it's prom queen time. Do they do prom queen at your...
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Oh,
either.
really?
No.
Well, it's weird because...
Is it?
It's not... Well, in this movie, it's not like they're a couple because LaToya wins. And then prom king is Ben Plunkett?
No
nuts?
No nuts.
No nuts.
No nuts. It's fun.
So it is later revealed that Mrs. Chen, the guidance counselor, somehow
rigged it, stuffed the ballot box
or something.
Yeah. So and
at the request of Mandy.
This was all Mandy's. This was like her makeup.
Fucking game.
Her makeup to Ben for having him ditch out on LaToya at the birthday party.
LaToya is just like, I don't like you. But
yeah,
then
she's just kind of standing up there all awkward.
It's expected that they dance together.
Yes, and she's like, let's just get through this. And then he thinks for like a minute, and he's like, no.
I'm gonna be a man. I'm gonna dance with you.
Yeah, he kind of just goes like alpha to be like, I was always worried about having something like this happen.
I'm no nuts Plunkett. He exclaims for the whole.
Yeah, he's like, I was always worried about becoming prom king and being embarrassed or something. So he's like, I'm gonna have fun. I like parties.
And I'm gonna kiss this girl. I'm dancing with the girl of my fucking dreams here.
Why did you censor yourself?
Well, because I don't know.
So, yeah, and then he kisses her.
Yeah.
And Mandy's like...
she says, just kiss me then.
Yeah, and then she's all happy.
Yeah, everything's good.
I mean, hey, trust me, I don't understand
We see Mandy this whole time. She's all happy. Like, my plan's working. Everything's good. I'm such a good person. Character arc.
She's just happy that her friend is happy.
Yes.
And I would have liked it if it... so here she's taking pictures with them, and she's like, I'll randomly check my Harvard app. And it's like, oh, I got accepted. And then it's Mrs. Chen's like, I wrote a letter of recommendation for you, and I'm like,
Mrs. Chen's the hookup for
And
everything.
I would have taken one different version of this, which without parts of the rest of the movie plays out wouldn't necessarily work. But I would have maybe had it not be clear if she made it into Harvard, because really making it to Harvard shouldn't be something that happens.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be the end goal.
It shouldn't be important now. Like I said, she had all her character goals. She's learned. Yeah.
I would have liked the final shot to be her refreshing the app, and it just kind of hangs there.
Spinning, and just say the end.
The kind of movie that my mom would be like, well, fuck this! Did she get there or not? But then, if it was also revealed that Graham had still submitted the letter on her behalf from her dad, but that's not mind palaceable like with what Jacob did earlier. It just does seem like, I guess Mrs. Chen was the hookup.
Yes.
So she gets accepted to Harvard, and they fade out from everybody dancing to, I want to dance with somebody. Yes. That was horrible.
And she's still looking
Whitney
at...
Houston.
her and Graham still have not gotten together. They didn't dance at the dance. They didn't talk. Nothing.
She doesn't quite get it all.
No.
Or does she? Fade out from prom to her commencement speech. Which I did not get to be the commencement speaker because I didn't ever see like actual commencement speeches. So the one I prepared, I was like, well, our class didn't win state at football and stuff like that. But like, we were really, we all liked each other. And like 2 of the judges of it were like captains of the football team. So as I was doing, like, I don't think I'm gonna make the cut. And then our friend Sean was one of them, and he basically the format for commencement speeches take some anecdote and somehow greatly construe and be like, here's a metaphor from this about, I don't know, working towards your future.
Our class is so good.
And I'm like, well, that was a bunch of bullshit. So, anyways, she kind of zags on everybody and talks about a little acronym called
BEEF.
And Dustin reminds us.
Balance, eyes, elbow, and follow through.
Dustin took one sheet of paper of notes, and it's just beef in big letters. And he says, where is it?
Where's the beef?
And this is where she finally thanks Graham in front of the entire school.
And she does do the kind of commencement of being like, be in your future. You got to be balanced. Basketball. Get your head in the game.
You got to see it.
Yeah.
Elbow. You got to use your elbow to get, you got to nudge some people around the way.
And
follow through with everything you say.
And at the end, she calls out Graham specifically and says, thanks for making my last high school semester different.
Yeah.
And then we get one final scene of Mandy and Ben being great BFFs, but then LaToya Reynolds has to come in, and they both go, LaToya Reynolds! And then
throughout the whole movie, they kind of have this thing where they slap the back of their hands together. Cause I don't know, they just don't hug. That's just not Oh, there we go.
And they do hug here.
They do hug finally.
And I'd be like, whoa. We're not that kind of.
I'm gonna miss you. And she says, when I visit, on my off semester or whatever, I'll have to visit you and your girlfriend. Can you believe I have a girlfriend? LaToya Reynolds.
And this is where I no longer relate to this character.
And in the background, we kind of see Mandy looking at Graham, he's taking pictures with all these other girls and stuff. And she does go over to him and talk to him.
She says, oh, did you decide where you're going to go to school? And he's like, yeah, UTI.
Where my dad wants me to go. Oh, then where your dad wants me to go? Yeah.
It's UT. Just UT. Then it kind of just, they leave off on mutual appreciation and be like, hey, thanks for everything.
Yeah, thanks for everything. She gets into the van. We see her.
See you on the flip side.
We see her looking through.
We should really hang out sometime, like over the summer.
That doesn't happen.
Never.
No. We see her looking through the back window of the van as she drives away, and Graham's just taking pictures.
What's the song that's playing? The Promise.
The Promise?
Yeah.
Just like the end of
Napoleon Dynamite.
For us, all a very foundational move.
Napoleon and Deb hitting the tetherball back and forth after their prom.
Yeah.
Exactly. Fade out from the van that she's driving in.
Says Mass.
Cambridge, Massachusetts, which is where a little school called Harvard is. And we get a shot of possibly Mandy of legal age ordering alcohol.
Well, yeah, no, she wouldn't be though.
Or a Coca-Cola. We don't know how much time has passed. And then I've got an order here for Graham. And then they turn and she's like, Graham, you're here? You're wearing a Save the Bees shirt? Yeah, I'm taking a gap year at a nonprofit to help inner city youth. And she's just like, I'm going to kiss her.
Well, so, yes.
And then the music swells and it's The Promise again. And me and Jacob danced and look at Dustin, and Dustin had his arms crossed.
It says the end, ... But the way that leads into is, yes, he like says, I'm taking my gap year. I'm here. I followed something that I really love and care about. And she's getting all excited and happy. And then he says, oh yeah, inner city youth stuff. And then you can see her heart kind of break. But then he says, there's also something else I love here. And then she kisses him. It was good. Loved it.
Yeah, she's like, open mouth kiss me.
She's sucking on his tongue. It's the best ending.
Some of that wasn't in the movie. I mean, it's not your dad's DCOM, but still, you know.
God, what a great fucking film.
As I said, I guess technically not a DCOM, so I don't know if we'll put it in our...
It premiered on Disney Channel Original Movies.
Well, but there have been other movies that we haven't included that have been, you know, on Disney Channel.
They premiered on the Disney Channel Original Movie?
There was also the precursor to DCOMs called Disney Channel Premiere Films. So we don't want to, you know,
but I mean, like
go back in time
High
to try to
School
watch all
Musical
of
3
those.
did not premiere on the Disney Channel. This movie did.
Sure. But so did like that Debbie...
Does Dallas? Dusseldorf?
It's not Debbie Reynolds, but...
Debbie Reynolds.
Who's married to the 21 Pilots?
Oh, Debbie Ryan.
There. See, I knew we'd get there. So she had some movie that we didn't watch too. So that was 16 and Pregnant. No, that was Prom Pact. And yeah, I think I had always said for the longest time that Don't Look Under the Bed was what I held up as like, this could be a real movie. Rewatching it, it's a TV movie, but this is just a movie. I think it's come up in plenty of other episodes that this is very much targeted at me as well as Jacob. You know, this 80s style coming of age movie.
80s theme of it.
Love the 80s.
Love the 80s theme of it.
This really hit for me. I liked it a lot, but I do think there's certain aspects of it that it's maybe not fair to compare it to all of the other movies. Because
and you had said there were, so just for comparison, you said the last movie we watched had like a couple thousand reviews. This one had 30,000 reviews.
No, I underestimate. I think I even edited out some stuff where I got the numbers wrong. Yeah, both Under Wraps remake and sequel had like under 1,000 ratings. Yeah. But on Letterboxd, this had like 30,000, which, you know, is
good.
It's not the end-all be-all metric of anything, but it's what I look at a lot. And I like this movie.
Me too.
Dustin? I know it didn't have Jason Dolly.
No, it didn't have Jason Dolly, but I did like this movie as maybe non-DCOM. I don't know. It was good, though.
Is it the best one you've watched with us?
Well, I mean, they've advanced every time I've came into an episode. I feel like they've taken like a step each time in like production.
Had some large year gaps between. You'd be like, Alley Cat Strike. They're time traveling in this one.
It was very good though. It's up like probably top 3 of the ones I've been on.
Speaking of Jason Dolly, I had some like clickbait video that came across me like, do you know what this Disney Channel star looks like? And it was Jason Dolly. I'm like, well, yeah, I've looked at pictures. I'm always looking at pictures of Jason Dolly to see what he's looking like. So that was Prom Pact. Feels weird to be like, never remember who in this movie. Of course, never remember a segment, but I don't always introduce of who could have in this movie stopped the terrorist attack on 9/11. Mrs. Chen, maybe?
Ooh. She could have made a
Probably
call.
had inside info.
Yeah, maybe Senator Lansing somehow.
Oh, yeah, true.
You know, he caused the melted beans.
He was on the take. He's like the senator who's like was taking money from like the Egyptian government recently. I can't remember his name. That was Senator Lansing. He's crooked. Crooked Senator Lansing. All right, I don't want to talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
You can find us at our email address where you can debate with us if this is a DCOM or not, if we should include it in the rankings, if we should start our new numbering of episodes for non-Disney Channel original movies. Maybe that won't even be necessary if they don't make them anymore. That is awholenewpod@gmail.com. Hopefully you found us on your podcast platform of choice, but if it's Apple, rate, review, and subscribe to us on there, as well as other places you can, like Google, Spotify, youtube.com/awholenewpod, where you can like, comment, and subscribe there.
Yeah.
Apparently, lots of Spanish-speaking people still looking for Cadet Kelly, but I believe our Cadet Kelly video surpassed the 13th year finally. But recently, the 13th year has been getting back up in the higher search ranks that have gotten people to come to us. And then Dustin.
Yeah, I am, I guess, the Twitter social media person for
the second most important to this podcast.
AW.
At AWN Pod on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
It still redirects there, I'm pretty sure.
Ooh.
No, a whole new pop this week, but as I mentioned as an off comment earlier, it does seem like Game Fuel returning flavors are on the horizon, so look at your store shelves for those. Though I think one time they brought back the original Game Fuel flavor, but they had it like be half sugar, half aspartame or whatever. I don't really know the purpose of doing that, but it was not great. So, not to predict what my...
Predict.
Well, that's how you would say it. I wouldn't.
Well, that's how you said it. P and the V.
Well, we'll see what the wavelengths look like when I get to this point of the episode. Whatever. Fuck Jacob tells you.
Fuck you, Gumpy.
Dustin, as your final episode of maybe an actual Disney Channel affiliated movie, anything to say?
It's been fun with you guys. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next
checking in.
The next chapter, I guess, if you want to call it, of your guys'...
Your next chapter will be being a father, so you'll never be on this podcast.
I gotta be on for the Dunstan Checks In episode.
We'll get you back. You're much easier to work with than Sam. So Sam having a baby was just a good excuse to never have him back.
We want you back.
I appreciate it, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was very fun to be included, and I don't know, I guess watch you guys.
It's nice to be included.
Grow your listening audience, and
debatable.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think. Like, I don't know, I know when we started, it's like, oh, we have 110 to go, 100 whatever, and ended up, being how many new movies.
I would think we had talked about it. I'm confident Jacob never thought we would get through all of them. Jacob never completes anything.
We did it.
I'm the reason we're here. But it's for fans like Dustin.
Lucas put in a lot of effort.
I appreciate it.
And I appreciate it.
Claps for Lucas?
Claps for Lucas.
I didn't ask.
No, we got to do the...
Oh, yeah. Slapping
the back of the hands.
All right. So I think with this episode, there's only one thing to go out on. And that would be LaToya Reynolds.
Happy birthday, bitch!
So you just gonna bring me a birthday gift on my birthday to my birthday party on my birthday with a birthday gift?
Happy birthday?